Hello, my friends. Shavua Tov, Chodesh Tov. This is Rabbi Aharon Dobinsky coming to you today from the holy city of Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, Israel. Quick weather report, and then we'll get on with things. You wouldn't believe the weather here lately. All last week it was 100 degrees plus, much hotter than it ever gets in Jerusalem. Last night it rained and got into the 50s. Also, wet, cold, does not suit the end of May. Totally unreasonable. You might think, and because I do, perhaps this is Hashem's way of saying, see, I can do anything I want to do. Matter of fact, I had a friend today who told me on one side of his house it was raining, on the other side the sun was shining. Think about that. I want to tell you all a story today. It's one of my favorites. You probably know a lot of it. If you followed this week's Haftorah, you definitely know. It's the story of David and Jonathan. A great story on a number of levels. But this basically, to recap for you, for those of you who don't know the story, David and Jonathan were the best of friends. Jonathan was the son of King Shaul, who was a tzaddik, King Shaul, as was Jonathan, as was David, who was the son-in-law of King Shaul. So they were all bound in this tight group. Well, it comes to the time of Rosh Chodesh, and David's not there. And Shaul thinks, well, maybe he missed one day. Next day, he's also not there. Second day of Rosh Chodesh. So he says to his son Jonathan, where's David? So you see, Shaul was one of those people who had already decided, I should tell you this if you don't know, he had already lost the kingship. Although he didn't know it, but David had already been anointed by Shmuel, the prophet, also a great tzaddik. As a matter of fact, one of the three people that Hashem considered giving Torah to, had it not been for Aharon and Moshe, it would have been given to Shmuel. And he was only in his early 50s at the time. But he had already anointed David as the next king because Shaul had not done what he was told to do and killed the king of Edom. Shmuel had to do that because he didn't do what he was told. So Shmuel took care of that, and Shaul lost the kingship. And it went to David. Shaul didn't know this. David knew this. But David didn't do anything about it. He didn't say, I got it, you lost it. No. He was very humble. Very, very humble. One of the most humble of the people of all Jews. He was one of three. He, Avraham Avinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu. But he didn't say a word. But for whatever reason, Shaul lost the kingship. Something went a little bit crazy in his head, and he started seeing things that were not happening. He saw David as a threat to him. Although he was an existential threat to his kingship, he was not a threat to King Shaul. How did David know this? Because he threw 3 spears at him in the palace and barely missed him. So David knew there was something was up, so he decided he better just lay low for a while. So King Shaul comes up to his son, Jonathan, and says to him, where is your friend David? And he said, oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you. He wanted to go to his family in Aharon for Rosh Chodesh, and I told him it was okay to go. At which point, Shaul unloaded on Jonathan, his own son, basically telling him that his mother was, well, let's not say what she was, but he was not kind about his mother, nor was he kind about him. Called him a traitor, called him somebody trying out to get him. He didn't get it. That was not Jonathan's path either. Jonathan and David were friends. So they had made up an arrangement before David left, and you read this week, that David would go out and he would go shooting his bow and arrow and bring a young man with him to collect them. If after he shot them, the young man went to get the arrows, and David and Jonathan said to him, no, you have to come back. You've gone too far. David would know that was the all clear, come back to Jerusalem. If, however, he said to him, no, you're not there, go beyond where you are to get the arrows, he would also know at this point that he had to keep running and he had to get further from Shaul. And then, when he got his arrows, he dismissed the young man, and he and David had a chance to talk for a moment. And the upshot of their conversation was, you and I will always be the best of friends. And our children will also always be the best of friends, no matter what else goes on around us. This is quite a pledge to make to one another. You see, you had two people who understood the meaning of the word love. Not love with conditions, just love. You see, David HaMelech would have been very happy to live his complete life as an advisor to his best friend, Jonathan, who would have been the next king. He was happy with that. That's all he ever wanted. He didn't want to be king. He was picked. He was chosen. Hashem told Shmuel, this is the one. Shmuel anointed him. He was chosen. And Jonathan, same thing. Jonathan didn't care if he was a king or if David was the king. He didn't know this yet, but either way, he didn't really care. He wanted to be friends. He loved his friend David like a brother. This is how we should look at the relationships we have in life. We should look at those who are with us closely as being a part of our life. Unconditional love, ahavat chinam, love for no reason at all except because they're wonderful people. And that's how one you should look at the other, because we are all brothers. And we have to look at each other as if we are all brothers. And we have to love each other through all that. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. What about this guy? He doesn't go to shul. What about that guy? He doesn't keep kashrus. This one doesn't keep halachas at all. What about him? You really think you're allowed to hate them for that? What did I tell you last week? What's the quickest way to get a father to hate you? By hating his children. So Hashem is a father. If you hate his children, you get him to not care much about you and what you want. And what's the quickest way to get a father to love you? Brag about his children. Tell them how wonderful they are all the time. Even though they may be misguided, even though they may not be doing what they're supposed to be doing, even if they are not at the level where they need to be. We have to praise them because they're our brothers. We have to talk kindly about them. We can't do lashon hara about them. We can try to correct them. That's our job. Try to help them in a way that is not intimidating, in a way that doesn't have an agenda, in a way that brings them closer to Hashem, because that's what we want for them. Why? Well, we know the reason why. Because we are trying to be closer to Hashem, and we know what a great feeling it is to be close to the one who set up the world the way he wants it, sets up the rules of the world for our benefit, whether we see them or not at the time. This is an important thing. So you have David and you have Jonathan trying to set the example for us. Let us know this is how friends live. This is how one Jew treats another Jew. This is how one human treats another human. There is so much hate out there these days. I mean, it's hard not to respond in kind. I myself am as guilty of it as anybody else, and I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. Something I'm trying to do to make sure that I don't become one of these hateful people. That my goal is to actually encourage people to do the right thing rather than discourage them because they've done the wrong thing. That's not constructive, and we don't want to be disconstructive. We want to help. So now we have the situation with this coronavirus out here. Yeah, I'd get to it sooner or later, right? And you have people sitting here talking about how we can get something to do. Now, you need to think about this very carefully because it's an important decision you'll be making in the future. Everybody keeps thinking that there is going to be an all-saving vaccine. Don't think this. It's not necessary. There are already treatments. They're effective, and the death rate is so low anyway. But these treatments are effective. They can be done. You don't need a vaccine. Oh, yeah, you need a vaccine. Okay, well, in some things you do. Polio was a good example. They eradicated polio here. Well, until the illegal aliens came across the borders and they had not been vaccinated for polio, and they brought it back in the United States with them. But aside from that, yeah, there are cases where it works. But let's look at something that is on the same level as this pandemic. Let's look at influenza, the flu. Is there a flu shot? Is there a flu vaccine? Do you get called by your doctor every year to come in and get a flu shot? I bet you do because I do. And everybody I know does. And I don't do it, and my family doesn't do it. And do you know why? Because every time I get a flu shot, I get the flu. I don't want the flu, so I don't go get a flu shot. And by the way, just in case you were wondering how effective the flu shot is, in spite of the fact that we've had a flu shot, and we've had it for quite a while, 40 to 80,000 people in the United States alone die of the flu every year. As much as we'd like to protect every living human being, and that is our goal, because they're our brothers, each and every one of them. We want them to live, we want them to be happy, we want them to be successful. The fact is we can't. It's not up to us. It's up to the creator of the universe who lives and who dies. And this is clearly illustrated in Ecclesiastes. The time for life and a time when life is taken away. It's in Ecclesiastes. It's in the Tanakh. It's in what we read all the time. These are our guides. We need to listen to them. We need to be specific in our treatment of other people because of that. But we have to understand, we cannot save everybody. We can do our best to try. We can do our best to give them what they need. But that's it. So what we need to do is to take a look at our lives as we go forward in this new month, in this new week, and say to ourselves, do I truly love the people in my life? Do I truly love the people of the earth? Do I truly want to help? If so, we need to be thinking like David and like Jonathan. I love you. I will always love you. My children will always love your children. Isn't that beautiful? So go on this week. Have a great new week, a great new month. And these type of things and these types of feelings which will bring the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu and the third Beit HaMikdash, Bimhei Yameinu, speedily and in our days. Amen. Everybody have a great week. Have a great month. Have a great life. And love the people around you and show them how much you appreciate them. God bless.